Welcome to lesson 2.8a. Today we're going to start learning chemical nomenclature, and we're going to learn how to name some binary compounds. First type of compound we're going to learn how to name is a binary ionic compound, a type 1 binary ionic compound. But by definition, a binary ionic compound contains a cation and an anion, so a positively charged ion and a negatively charged ion. We also have covalent binary compounds, and we'll learn about those in a lesson to come. So type 1 binary ionic compounds are one of the easiest to name. The cation is always named first, the anion second. If it is a monatomic cation, that means if it is not what we call a polyatomic ion, and again, another thing we're going to discuss later, then we just take its name from the parent element. So for example, Na is sodium, so Na would represent sodium in the compound. The monatomic anion, so we have a lot of anions that can be polyatomic, but this one is monatomic, then you just take the element name and add an ID ending. And so let's look at some of these. So on the left we have some different cations. On the right we have some anions. Notice that the name of each of the cations is the name of the element as well. Now if we just had this, if we just had an H plus in a reaction, then we would say hydrogen ion. We wouldn't just say hydrogen, because hydrogen ion and hydrogen are very different to a chemist. You'll notice over here you use the root of the name, so like oxygen is now oxide, hydrogen is now hydride. Notice also that hydrogen can exist as a cation or an anion. It just depends on where it is in the formula, and you'll see an example of that on the next slide. So just, pretty easy. The cation goes with the name that's on a periodic table, the anion with the name on the periodic table with the "ide" ending instead of the normal ending. So here are 3 binary compounds. I suggest you pause the video and try to name these, and then we'll talk about them. That first one is cesium fluoride, because CS is cesium. F is for fluorine. We change the ending to IDE, so that's cesium fluoride. The next one, you might question the fact that there's a subscript 3. That subscript 3 is what helps what we call charge balance the formula. And so that subscript 3 is not written in the name of the compound. It is basically determined by the name of the compound. And when we go to writing compounds from compound names, then you'll see where that 3 comes into play. So again, we're going to ignore the 3. We start with aluminum. Chlorine is the second one. We change the ending to "ide," so aluminum chloride. And then the last one, notice hydrogen is listed second in the compound, and so lithium is your cation, so it's simply lithium, and then hydrogen needs the ending changed to IDE or "ide," so that's lithium hydride. So again, anytime you name a binary ionic compound, the cation is named first and the anion is named second. The next lesson we're going to get into what happens when we have a compound, a binary compound with a transition element, because I mentioned transition elements can have varying charges, which means that would affect the numbers, the subscripts that you use. So until next time.